Everybody, hope you're doing well. Okay, so you've probably seen, I know I have a lot of posts on this food stamp issue. Oh my gosh, people are losing it, and I get it. Food is a necessity. Um, I wanted to, I want to play this quick clip, okay? And here's what I want to talk about. A lot of people have their point of view, and I get it. However, there's also another play here. See, I know life is hard, it's challenging. If it's going well for you, that's great. But there are, sometimes I see people, they are pretty much like, oh, they should do this, they should do that. They should be working and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So for all the Americans who are they should make these people who are able bodied with no kids work for food stamps. Did you have that same energy for the illegal immigrants who have never worked because they just got here and they were given thousands, not just food stamps and cash, okay, as well? So where's the energy for them? But let's have the conversation. Is it better to say, hey, if you're able bodied, no children, you can only get food stamps for a certain amount of time, but you must work? Or is it better to say, hey, guess what? If you don't want to work, get food stamps, you know what the way around it is? Just go out there and have a whole bunch of babies. Seriously, which one is the greater peril? Making someone who doesn't have children work for food stamps, or to someone to say, hey, you know what? If you just have child after child after child, and then not maybe the kid may not be raised properly, could be in a bad environment, which is going to add more people in the future on the taxpayers because the cycle continues. Which one is worse? Making people work that don't have children so they can get food stamps? Or maybe saying people that do have children, baby after baby after baby, letting them get food stamps without having to work at all. Which one is worse? So let's look at this brief clip here, and we're just going to go ahead and have the conversation. Okay? You voted for when you voted for a Republican because you're mad because they cut food stamps. I want to let you all know that I am glad that they are cutting food stamps for people who are able-bodied adults without a dependent. If you are an able-bodied adult without any dependents, why is it that you are receiving food stamps in the first place? Why is it that you cannot get up and go to work like everybody else since you are an able-bodied adult without dependents? I'm glad that they're cutting food stamps. Now, I am not someone who thinks that nobody should ever get government assistance. You have fallen on hard times. Yeah, exactly. I think it's fine if you need to get government assistance for a time. But I think there should be a limit to how much government assistance a person receives. Yes, and I want to stop right there. Falling on hard times, yes, I'm with her. I totally get it. But here's my thing. Let's go ahead and take it further, okay? I think there should be a limit on how many kids you should have when you're sitting up here on these government programs. Oh, but they can't do that. That's been covered. It's not constitutional. Let's keep it 100 because the cycle of poverty continues. There should be a limit, in my opinion, on the number of children you can have when you're sitting up on food stamps, when you're sitting up on Section 8. If you have one or two kids and you're on it, how the hell are some women getting, I'm up here, I got 4 now, I got 6. Let's talk about that. Because here's what I think. Able-bodied adult, and I agree with her, person falling on hard times, that's cool, I get it. But the able-bodied adult without any dependence, that tells me that that person is on some form of birth control that they're thinking. If they're having a hard time, they've made the decision, hey, I'm having a hard time. The last thing that they need to go ahead and do, which they've obviously not done, is have a whole bunch of kids in the mix for us to take care of. Because see, what's going to happen is, if you look at the trajectory, that's what has happened. People have had these kids after kids after kids all on these food stamps. The next thing you know, the kid is the very same thing. The cycle of poverty continues. So I'm sorry to say this, the flip side of this here, when people holler about, oh, people have no children, they should get a job. What about the one that keeps on having children? It's like we're paying them to go ahead and procreate. Seriously, we're saying, hey, go ahead and do it. We'll take care of those kids at the taxpayer's expense. What about that argument? I would rather go ahead and invest in the one who knows that they're having a hard time financially. And guess what? They chose not to bring children into the circle of poverty. That's the one I would invest in because that person, they have more than common sense. I am so sorry. It makes no sense to me to have bad decision after bad decision. Child after child, you're already having a hard time and bringing more kids into a possibly chaotic situation. What about the legal immigrants that came here? Billions of dollars spent. They were getting more than the American taxpayers. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and take it to a whole another level. So I understand her point of view. I get it. But think about it. You're going to end up spending more money on a person that has children, gets onto a government program, and then while they're on the program already suffering, that's why they're on because they can't make it on their own, obviously. And then they start to have more kids in the process. That's going to be the greater burden on the taxpayers. So I understand the point of view. I respect it. I just want to add to it. Now, here's the thing that I see, and again, just my opinion. A lot of times for us regular working people, we're on that, oh, but they should be doing that, this little person. A lot of times while we're watching, because trust me, I'm watching too, it's in front of us, we can't help but see it. While we're watching the finances play out as far as like food stamps and government help and all this fun stuff, and a lot of people are, oh, I'm glad they're losing their Section 8. Oh, that's what they get. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I'm glad. Okay. Okay. I'm glad they're getting these folks off food stamps. And I've seen other videos like that where people are like, oh, that's what they get. Really? So here's the different thing. We're going to go to a different aspect. Um, while we have regular people like myself, you and I, and people go back and forth on the misfortune of others losing their housing, their vouchers, their food stamps, whatever the thing is, the extra check. They've got also a thing called EBT cash. While we're on that, and I think, and I'm not saying her, that's a different video. I'm saying what I've seen. Misery loves company. I see people rejoicing that, oh yeah, that's what they get. I'm glad that's what they get. Okay. Well, let me ask you about this. While we're all the chatter about food stamps, and it's really major now because of what? The cost of living, the cost of inflation. Um, let's look at this right here. And I said this before about politicians because the math ain't mathing. Now, Elon posted this. I'm going to go up a little bit so you can see the math is not always math in here with the politicians. So, Elon posted this. It says, Elizabeth Warren's salary. Now, before Elizabeth Warren, the senator, she was a professor, as I understand, and she's written books. It says, Elizabeth Warren's salary, $285,000 a year. But the net worth is $67 million. And I've said this before. So here Elon Musk asks, where does Senator Karen, Senator Karen, okay, get $67 million? I've covered videos on it before. So while we're worried about the little people and food stamps, there's a bigger game that's being played. I've said it before, just like that with the SVB Bank, SVB. All people shorted that bank, and they're going to go ahead and do an investigation and press charges. Okay, well, the investigation has been done, and the names have been released. I'm not saying I saw her name in particular, but the names have been released, and the names of the people who shorted that stock were a whole lot of politicians. Uh-oh. Now what happened? They're going to investigate. Okay, the names are out there. Crickets. Crickets. Really now. So you're a professor. It says $67 million. The math ain't mathing. So let's go ahead and get to the people that own investments. Again, I did a video on it before. There is just no way in hell I'm going to buy that. How is it? Since we're worried about little people in food stamps and housing and they're going to be homeless, well, listen, we need to go ahead and get the political hookup. How is it that you can make this kind of money? This is your net worth? She must have sold a hell of a lot of books. Must have been a lot of books sold. So this right here, it says 67 million. I did some other checking here. Let's go over here, and it says Elizabeth Warren net worth insider, $82 million wealth and controversies. So I did a video before on the channel, and I talked about, I'm trying to understand how politicians in general, a list of politicians, and it just showed the money they were making in Wall Street. And what did the guys say in the report? For some, and I'm not accusing anyone, because I know we have some people, you just troll empty lies, and you just try to find a way to, oh, you're trying to say this here. Some people can't think outside the box. I can't. So I'm speaking in general. How is it on the power video I did, the guy was right? Some politicians, as he said, they know just when to get in and just when to get out. Huh. So that means you're better than a hedge fund. There are hedge fund managers. Sometimes VC venture capitalists can have a write down, darling. But there are some politicians, and we're not saying it's her. He had a good idea. He put the names, he listed the names and the trades. The amount of money that was made in Wall Street. And he said in his report that some of them knew just when to get in and just when to get out. How is that possible? So my point is, I've seen it before. It's like, how can someone make 142 or somebody was making 176 a year as a politician? But how in the world? But you're already worth, some say 8 million, some say 9, some say $12 million. You just got there. You've been there, this might be your 4th, 5th year? So the job before, let's round it up to 20,000. Okay? So you just made, let's say 170, let's say 180. 180. So let's say you've made like $720,000 in about 4 years. Okay? 700. So looking at your information, that person 720,000 in 4 years. But how are you worth 8 or 9 and possibly $12 million? How is that possible? You haven't brought in that amount of money. We've seen your social media, spoke about, oh, you used to work for an investment firm in VC. So my point is, the math is not mathing. Well, the point I want to make is, we need to think things through. Which person, and I'm asking for a friend. Are we going to be concerned about a person who is single and giving them food stamps? Or guess what? Oh, we're against that. They should be working. Well, what about the person that's a mom or dad, because they have fathers too, that are sitting up here on food stamps? They've got 3 kids. There should be a limit. Yes, there should be a limit on the number of kids that they should be able to have. You came in on the program at 3, that's your max. Go ahead and have up to 6 if you want to. No increase in food stamps. How about that? Because I hate to say it, the person more than likely that has multiple kids that keeps on doing that, they are creating a circle of poverty. The person with no children that's getting and who in the hell care about a darn food stamp card? The person that has no children and they're getting food stamps, I can tell you what they're not doing, creating a circle of poverty. Because guess what? They're not putting kids here that they can't afford to feed. Let's talk about that. And that's one thing that people don't see. So I don't want to say either party's talk, but if you think about it, I'm going to go ahead and want to support the person that has said, hey, you know what, I'm having a hard time financially. The last thing I'm going to go ahead and do is put kids here that I can't afford to pay for and put them on you guys. The person that already has kids or keeps on having kids on food stamps, that's going to be your greater liability right there. That's going to be the greater liability. Life is business. Let's get acclimated with it. And just keep in mind, in the meantime, in between time, it's a whole nother game going on. While little people are worried about, and I've seen men said about women, oh, I'm just glad that they're not getting no food stamps. I'm glad that's getting cut off. You're worried about some nickel and dime money compared to the bigger picture. Again, the math is not mathing. Elon put it out here. He says, where did Senator Karen, he called her Karen, where did Senator Karen get $67 million? Well, did you not? I did some research and it was saying, book sales, girl. You outsold Stephen King. Book sales, yeah. Oh, and investments. You think? That's where the money's coming from. That's what it says. A possible source, I will say. Book sales, her salary 285, book sales and investments. Again, I was sure. Who is your guy? Give us a hint so we can know. And don't forget that controversy about lawmakers investing and then they can make, their rulings. I mean, come on. You got to be kidding me. So yeah, so while they've got little people all up in arms, some people are, what I've seen. There's so many videos that I've watched is crazy about, oh yeah, they're knocking down the food stamp, yeah. While you're doing all that word about a darn EBT food stamp card, and especially in our community, and an EBT cash card, while you going on about that, let's talk about this on the screen. He says, where did Senator Karen get $67 million? Well, Elon, I did some research and it says she makes 25 a year plus some book sales and investments. I don't think Stephen King has made that many book sales, has made that in book sales. But it says and investments. So I'm thinking the latter, investments. Wow. So somehow, I guess, I'm just going to say my opinion and speaking in general. I think to all politicians, Congress, Senate, whoever, somehow, maybe when they get into that realm, they really become Wall Street smart. That's all I can say. It seems to go with the territory. Again, look at the prior video that I did on this issue. Look at the prior video. Wow, what did the guy say? He just said in his article, and I showed you that in his post that some know when to get in, at the right time and get out at the right time. Wow, never make a mistake, never making a bad decision. You catch it right at the right time. Knowing to get in, knowing to get out. Wow, that is impeccable timing. Listen, these guys must be brilliant. The guys and gals, they must have Wall Street beat. How is it possible? VCs, venture capitalists, hedge funds, they sometimes get it wrong. Wall Street gets it wrong, but looks like on that report that the guy did, the politicians didn't get it wrong. Head scratcher, huh? So yes, so keep that in mind. While a lot of little people are worried about somebody who will get food stamps and they cut Section 8 and that's what they get and everybody should be working. And I agree with that. And guess what? What should also be working? Women that have a lot of children, women that have children or men that come into the program with food stamps. Guess what? They should also be working. There should be a number. You get to a certain number of kids. Well, I'm like that lady got 16 kids. Why are we paying for 16 kids? Because I'm sorry to tell you, the one with the 16 kids, that woman on food stamps, who you think is going to cost more? One of the kids already got in trouble when they got them into housing, throwing a rock at somebody's window. So the able-bodied person with no kids, that's the one who's used foresight to decide, hey, guess what? I'm having a hard time. The last thing they're going to go ahead and do is go ahead and create a whole bunch of kids for the taxpayers to pay for. I hate to tell you, the one that keeps on having kid after kid after kid while they're on the program, knowing they can't really afford it, that's going to be your greater tax liability. And no, I don't want the kids to starve. But just keep that in mind. So 2 things here. Who's the greater liability? I said, wow, this is very interesting to me. Who's the greater liability? You're going to end up paying more so for the one that has kids who keeps on having kids to get this little card and get these little benefits than the one that doesn't. Let's think, people. Let's think about it. That person's going to be the greater liability. They're going to keep more than likely. It is what it is. Create a chain of poverty. That part right there, the one that doesn't, that's the one that's going to be the better investment. Because guess what? They may have, it's only darn food. They may have time to get something together, come up with a business idea. You're going to be paying out more money with the one that keeps on deciding to breed with the seed of poverty at the expense of other taxpayers. And while we're going on over that, and the food stamp fight is going on, and all of that, look what's going on at the top again. Elon Musk asked, where did Senator Karen get $67 million? Well, I researched it, Elon. She makes $25 a year. I've seen that verb. That's what it says. It also says book sales and investments. Wow. $67 million. And don't forget over here, bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. It says of 2024, because that's what I Googled, I found this article, $82 million wealth and controversies. $82 million. So let's have that conversation. It says let's see here, a prominent American politician and former presidential candidate has an impressive fortune. You think so? Alongside her political career. As of 2025, the net worth is estimated at 82 million, a figure that reflects her successful ventures and investments. I'll bet. Book royalties, business profits, and substantial real estate holdings. Really now? Uh-huh. Interesting. High investments and high-end luxuries. That is interesting. Very, very interesting. And the influence of her husband, Bruce Mann. That is interesting. She was raised from a middle class family, so she didn't come from money. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the family had a financial hardship because the father had a heart attack, okay, and the mother was in the workforce. So she didn't come from money. We can tell right now she was not a trustafarian. And she was a law professor at Harvard University, specializing in bankruptcy law. So this right here, I just want to say, as we're hollering and tinkering on, oh, these folks are getting these food stamps and that's what they get. It's a greater play. It's a greater play. So somehow, like I said, the politicians, they must be extremely smart, and I'm not hating on them, but like the guy did that article. Again, speaking in general, and he gave the list. I did a video on it. What did he say? Many know when to get out and when to get in. That hella smart. So yeah, so while we're bickering over who gets food stamps in Section 8 and they gonna cut this and that's what they get. And again, some people, I'm not saying that this lady here is bickering. No, not. I just used her point of view, what she was saying. I'm saying let's look at a different aspect. You're going to spend out more money than a person who does have kids and getting the benefits, and they keep on having children, compared to the one who may have fallen on hard times. And I agree with her. On hard times, you get it. I agree with her. So I think what she's saying, don't just be a bum and not work and get food stamps. Don't have any kids. You get a job. And I get it. I get it. But I want us to look at the fact that you're going to end looking at it from a business point of view. You're going to spend out more money on the one that decides to carry the seed of poverty, be it Billy, Tyrone, Mihul, Mr. Wong doing wrong, whomever. You're going to spend out more money giving that person benefits, because guess what? They can continue to have kids and get more benefits than a person who's decided to use their common sense to say, hey, I can't barely afford me to feed myself. The last thing I want to go ahead and do is bring a child into a situation of poverty. You're going to spend out more money on the ones who do have children, and it's just facts. It's just facts. This stuff has been passed down like a trust fund. I'm serious. It is. But that right there, so I totally get it. But let's get to this right here. While little people are talking about the food stamp challenge and, this right here, the folks getting off the Section 8 and all of that, you hollering about that. Don't forget all the money paid to people in food stamps and government benefits who are illegal immigrants haven't paid a dime. Let's not forget that aspect. And while that's going on, while little people may be at the bottom boxing up on stuff like EBT cards, cash, whatever, WIC, whatever the thing they got going on, guess what? It's a whole nother scenario in play. It's a whole nother scenario in play. And this is just one example. This is just one example. Terrible. All I got to say, honey, the math ain't mathing. So yeah. So let me know what you all think. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share them out.